The episode that you're about to listen to is actually the first episode we officially recorded, and we were trying so hard to be incredible writers, we forgot to be incredible at pressing record. But Zoom came in the clutch with the backup recording, so it sounds just as good as every other pandemic-era podcast that was recorded that way. Anyways, just wanted to give you a heads up. With that out of the way, enjoy the Writers' Room Game Show.
Do you like writing? If so, you're a liar, and I hate you. If you think writing is the worst because it's super hard and super lonely, then the Story Clock Workbook is for you. It's built for getting your raw ideas out of your head and into a loose structure, so you can spend less time feeling bad about yourself and more time doing the fun, practical parts of writing, like winning awards and being famous, things that definitely happen for everyone. Learn more about the Story Clock Workbook at plotdevices.co and get 20% off your first order with code GAMESHOW at checkout.
Just a reminder, we need to somehow make this quiet as well. I keep on forgetting that.
That's okay. I mean, it's actually very quiet, at the Walmart, and wanders off.
Yes, like all Walmarts, very quiet. That's what I think of when I go to Walmart. Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Seth.
And welcome to the Writers' Room Game Show. It's the podcast where every week we generate an original feature film idea from scratch in under 60 minutes, working from a set of random prompts given to us by a big Hollywood studio.
At the beginning of every episode, the studio assigns us, the contestants, a new project consisting of 4 components randomly generated by our automation wizardry: the genre, the tone, the demographic, and a studio mandate. Studio mandate is basically any random thing the studio might want. So maybe they want a dragon in the third act, regardless of whether or not it's appropriate to the genre, or maybe an executive ran into Whoopi Goldberg at dinner the other night and wants to work her into this. Whatever it is, it's our job to make it work.
With our assignment in hand, we have exactly 1 hour to develop a feature film idea that fits the assigned criteria. That's not all. There will also be roadblocks along the way. So 30 minutes into the episode... Roadblocks, baby! 30 minutes into the episode, we'll receive a wild card mandate from the studio, giving us yet another creative problem to solve.
Then at the end of the episode, we're forced to focus group with one of our talented filmmaker friends. We'll pitch our finished idea to the listener and ask them actual dumb focus group questions. How likely are you to see the movie? And how likely are you to recommend this movie to a friend? You get it.
Of course, they're going to answer yes to both those questions because our idea will be amazing and
great.
Oscar-worthy, and all the things. Yeah, Seth, you ready to jump into it?
God, I'm so ready.
Oh, must be the studio calling right now. I'll take it. Hello? Yes, yeah. All right, we're eager to dive into it. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, so they emailed us. I don't know why they called.
Yeah,
also
kind of a pointless call there.
So they've sent us an email. Thank you for stalling with the phone call. The genre they've given us is martial arts. The tone should be quiet. The demographic should be adults age 60 plus. And the studio mandate. The studio is mandating that both male and female leads need to be played by an Oscar winner from the past 10 years. Now, the wording of that is interesting. Does that mean that both male and female leads need to be played by the same Oscar winner from the past 10 years, or they both need to be Oscar winners?
I think we just picked 2 Oscar winners.
All right, 2 Oscar winners from the past 10 years.
Interesting. Martial arts. And it needs to be quiet. I mean, that's a lot of martial arts films are quiet.
Yeah. And it's going to be quiet if it's for the elder, It's
got to be. The Oscar winner thing is interesting to me because it doesn't say anything about them having to be actors. Because I know a guy that we love, Taika Waititi, is a Oscar winner technically for screenwriting.
Anyway, so you want Taika Waititi to star in our martial arts film, our quiet martial arts film for the elderly?
100%.
So that's one option. All right, that's true.
Let's maybe we should start with see if our lead actors can inspire any story beats. So maybe Oscar, what's it? Best actor Oscar winners. So we have Sir Anthony Hopkins from this year. Which martial arts doesn't have to be Eastern too. It could
You
be,
know more martial arts films than I do, so I'm going to lean heavily on you for this genre.
but there it can be. It's the tough thing about Oscars is Oscars so white. There's a lot of most actor and actresses are very white, and I don't know if I want to do a an Eastern based Chinese martial arts movie with our very
Well,
white.
then we lean into it. Like, then what situation would like merit, not merit, but would organically tell a story about a probably white elderly person getting mixed up into the world of martial arts, right? And first thing I think of is like some suburban karate studio or something like that.
Yeah, totally. And I guess we have. Did you ever watch the Karate Kid? What's the new show?
I haven't. I'm so unqualified for this episode. This is the first episode. I know nothing. I've seen none of the Karate Kid films. I mean, I've seen the first one when I was a kid, a long time ago. I didn't grow up on it. No, all my friends did, and I did not.
So I mean, the elderly is the one that's throwing me off because the most of the martial arts films I love are very like the Jackie Chan like kung fu.
Yeah. So here's my question then: how can we make like you went and made a Jackie Chan like inspired short called Pizza Time, which everyone should check out. That's starring all white dudes, and the whole joke of that is like it's a Jackie Chan inspired action short because it's because of the spirit and tone of it and the way that it's like the way that you stage the fights in this very situational.
The thing with Jackie Chan is he's always the everyman. He's very rarely like a trained fighter. And there's stuff like the Drunken Master movies where he's specifically a fighter, but most of his movies he's a regular guy with a regular job, and he just happens to be in these situations and has to use the environment around him to get out of these situations. I know we both love those kind of movies, and using really leaning into the normal guy who has to step up and be extraordinary in the moment of need. So, and I mean the elderly, they still want to have fun at the movies. Like they're not.
Well, I also hate that we're saying 60 plus equals elderly. I don't think that that's fair. And I'm the first one I think in this to have said the word elderly. So like. The older, like it just 60 plus, we can just say it what it is 60 plus. And I think here's what I'm getting. Like I actually, that side of things doesn't trip me up.
It's true. I'm thinking about my dad now and he loves action movies. So,
well, I'm thinking it's funny though, if we do lean them as old as we can, because that's just more, it's really interesting to me. It's somebody who has like the more physical limitations they have and the more absurd it would be that they would be doing any kind of martial arts is great. So
I like that too. And I do I'm thinking more about all my favorite martial arts movies. And I like the movies that are like based in like China centuries ago, but I think this should be rooted in something we really know and we can make personal and make this a script that we really enjoy writing. And so taking like a person who's way too old to be in a action movie and making them.
So who do we got? Anthony Hopkins. Who else?
That's most recent. I've got it pulled up. And an actor, and it could be fun to make them female too. So I'll go through actors first, then we'll.
100%. Yeah.
Actors. So Anthony Hopkins. Okay. Then we got Joaquin Phoenix. I might do a hard pass on Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Rami Malek. Gary Oldman. I think he's 60 plus now.
Yeah, that's great.
Casey Affleck. That's a hard pass.
Hard pass.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
Eddie Redmayne.
I'm not anybody's like talent just for this project.
Oh, totally. Yeah, for this project, of course. Matthew McConaughey. Daniel Day-Lewis, which is kind of fun. Bring him out of retirement. And then I actually don't know how to say this guy's last name. The last one would be Jean Dujardin, the guy from The Artist, French guy.
Oh yeah. I have not said his name out loud before, so I'm not going to.
Honestly, though, Anthony Hopkins is like a front runner for me right now out of those.
Really is. All right, actresses.
Okay, actress. Let me for best actress. Guys, these podcast episodes, you'll realize that a lot of this is just us Googling things.
In fact, I think we're going to include a list of all the things, the search like terms that we Google for each 100%. Episode.
100%. Some of our previous practice episodes had some ridiculous. Okay, so Frances McDormand will be 2 of these years, which is great. We go Frances. Renee Zellweger, Olivia Coleman, which is fun. Emma Stone.
Wait, Olivia Coleman. That's Olivia Coleman from
Fleabag and The Crown and
The Crown. That's okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. She's great.
Um,
She is in Fleabag. How did I forget she was in Fleabag?
yeah, she's
Sorry, keep going.
The stepmother.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Keep going.
Emma Stone, Brie Larson, Julianne Moore, Kate Blanchett. I like Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence and Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep.
That's like immediate. Meryl Streep and Anthony Hopkins.
Oh my God.
That's immediate. We're gonna get Oscar buzz just from the trailer.
I think okay.
Who are your faves out of those?
Olivia Coleman, Kate Blanchett, and Meryl Streep are my favorites out of that.
For sure. I agree wholeheartedly.
And Anthony Hopkins, hands down.
So what if it's hard to, I'm just imagining Anthony Hopkins in a martial arts movie right now. It's really funny. I kind of want to put him as our protagonist, but we probably need to figure out our story. So you said something when we were talking about having, this older person in a situation where they wouldn't usually be in and they have to fight their way out somehow. Did you see Nobody?
I know of Nobody. I have not watched it yet.
So
according to this episode, I don't watch movies whatsoever, any movies at all.
Did you know that Christopher Lloyd is in that movie? I
have heard that he is. Yes.
Have you heard what he does in that movie?
No.
It is very unexpected and incredible. And I'll just say I don't want to spoil it, but he is in some prominent action scenes.
Okay.
And he's taking part in the action, and it's very inspiring for this episode because I would consider that it's gun fu, I guess is what you would call it. Martial arts.
Yeah, it's the John Wick era.
But I would still consider that martial arts. So maybe we lean into sort of like a crime element and have protagonist. Now I'm just sounding like Pizza Time, where it's a person.
So here's the thing. Okay, so we got to talk about like those movies. From what I understand about Nobody is that he is a character who has a history of trained violence. He has a history in training of violence. So we have to make the decision: do we want that? Do we want to be a character who has training? If so, I would pitch that we be training that this character would be so far away from at this season of their life that it would in no way be the kind of thing I never want to see it fully come back to the character. Like I want the character to have not done it in a very long time.
I'm retired.
Yes. And the image of someone's like, I'm retired, and then pulling back and seeing them in a situation that you would normally see a normal human being that's not, John Rambo in of retirement. Like I'm trying to think of what that would be like in a nursing home or something like that. But I guess what I'm getting at is I either want them to have really great training feels like it was 100 years ago and we're never going to see them back in 100%. Mm-hmm. Or I don't want them to have any training. I want them to have been like a karate teacher or something
Yeah. And the thing is too, at that age, there's not that much like learning and training that you really, at that point, you're not going to be able to retain that much, at least thinking Anthony Hopkins. It's not like he goes through like martial arts training. He's not going to become a master at whatever age he's at right now. So I think it makes more sense to have them learn this martial arts training.
All right. So they learned it a long time ago. So are they dropped? So here's the question. Why are they in whatever situation that our story is? Is it because does it have anything to do with their training, or is it just wrong place, wrong time? Is it a reckoning story or a wrong place, wrong time story?
It's easy for me to get like tropey and just start thinking about my previous.
I mean, tropey's a good place to start, and we can take that tropiness and just invert it. Well, I guess other things I'm thinking there's like, what do they do for a living? Like, are they a grocery store bagger? Are they?
Yeah. And I guess it's probably good to think about the theme of where you want to take your story too, because a lot of these sort of I'm retired stories as like them trying to have like the one last time where they could prove themselves, or it's the opposite where they get dragged back into it and they like they want to get out and they have to use what they've learned to like get back to where they want to be, which is retired. It's one or the other sort of. But I like that since they're older, it could be fun to maybe I'm thinking about Fast and the Furious too, but the idea of family and like I like the idea of this usually like a John Wick kind of person that they have like this really dark life and they've lost their wife and their dog and their family. It could be fun if it's like this is just like a loving like grandfather and he like is really enjoying his life and he's this great dad and great grandfather and stuff, but he gets wrapped up in this dark situation and has to like dig into his dark past to find his.
Yeah, and something also just hit me as you were talking is like our demo is 60 plus. That doesn't mean, because I was starting to get my head in the headspace to make something starring a 60 plus actor that was for me, but that's not what we're doing. We're making something like Space Cowboys here, or you know what I mean? We're really supposed to be making something. My dad loves John Wick.
Oh, yeah.
But my dad really loves Red. That's like Red and Red 2 are like, that's his kind of movie.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we can make with this.
Yeah.
But with Anthony Hopkins instead of Bruce Willis. We can. The thing is that the mandate just says we have to use those actors from.
And the leads.
Oh, leads. It does say leads. Okay. I was going to say we could pair them with, a younger guy. Like in Red, is there any young people or is it all like middle-aged?
I think they're the bad guys. Like I remember something where Carl Urban's fighting somebody in the first one, in the trailer.
So it's the boomers versus the younger people. It's basically.
Yeah. Gotcha. I think so. I mean, I don't necessarily think that means that's what we want to make, but
in martial arts, I mean, for martial arts movies, for me, it's mostly just there needs to be a good amount of hand-to-hand combat in addition to the.
Yeah, is that what makes it a martial arts movie? Like, what makes it a martial arts movie?
Because there's so many subgenres under martial arts. Like there's like kung fu or Hong Kong martial arts movies, which is like the very classic like Jackie Chan in the 80s and 90s. Where it's like very clear hand-to-hand combat, like fights, not a ton of guns, but there's so many subgenres under that. So,
according to Wikipedia, the term martial art has become associated with the fighting arts of East Asia, although it originally referred to the combat systems of Europe as early as the 1550s. The term is derived from Latin and means art of Mars, the Roman god of war. Some authors have argued that fighting arts or fighting systems would be more appropriate on the basis that many martial arts were never martial in the sense of being used or created by professional warriors.
I feel like there's contemporary martial arts movies too that article might not be talking about.
The point is, it's really what people are looking for is hand-to-hand combat and using some kind of like fighting arts of some kind. That's not just like it's not just like Mel Gibson and whoever that dude was in Lethal Weapon, shirtless, punching each other and wrestling in the rain. There's got to be some actual like artistry to the fights.
Definitely.
It comes with a specific kind of training. Man.
Okay, so but we're onto something. Let's keep talking about this older guy because I mean he could. I think we can still have an older lead and pair them with some more trained. A partner or some sort of person that is going to be bringing a lot more of that real martial arts, feel to the film.
I just got the worst idea ever.
You have to say it then.
It's bad. Like when I say it, I want everyone to know that this idea is going to come off insensitive. It's going to come off. Yeah, I have relatives with what I'm about to talk about, and I want it all to seem like I'm insensitive to this whatsoever. So if there is a sensitive way to tell this story, it might actually be cool.
Okay.
What if our main character has Alzheimer's? Like, what if our main character does not remember their like you always deal with this. You tell these stories all the time of like main characters who've lost, Bourne identity. Like, what if we made the Bourne identity a Jason Bourne story, but the reason the character doesn't remember who they are, their training is because of their age.
Oh, no.
And is there a way to actually tell a story about Alzheimer's, about dementia, like in a way that is actually touching in the end, that is very sensitive?
No. Whitney has some Alzheimer's like loss in her family, and it's definitely a very sad, like
it's incredibly sad.
But I've never seen something that can also have a like lighthearted, but still touching on
that's the problem is like there's no way to market it where it doesn't appear insensitive. It completely would. It would be completely reliant on what.
Even if it has a great message by the end, it would be tough to.
It's entirely journey dependent. Yeah, it's journey dependent. So like, there's no way to like market it and be like, but it's okay. Like,
especially if it's like 60 plus is the demo, and it's like they're the people that are losing their parents to Alzheimer's, and even maybe having some.
Oof, see, I told you it was a bad idea. I pitched it as a bad idea.
But it's really interesting. I mean, I like the idea because I think me and you both want to make movies that have heart and that have like a good message as in addition to being, badass, and especially like a martial arts film. If we can make a badass martial arts film that also has like this touching message by the end. I just think, this year I've just been thinking about the Mitchells versus the Machines a ton, because it's like that movie has so much heart, but it also has so much, everything. And like it's the
whole Lord Miller. I feel like Lord Miller could go make a movie about a martial arts movie about Alzheimer's, and it would be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you, Seth, but I like the idea of this guy having a family, and it would be nice to not just have him be retired in a nursing home at the start of his journey. Maybe it's like if he has a job, if it's like the Walmart, what is the guy at the front that says the greeter, like a Walmart greeter?
Yeah. Oh, greeter's great. That's way better than grocery bagger.
Because it's like I feel like they're all old.
Well, what if they he has a job. All right, let's talk about this. Thematically, does not want to settle down, does not like sitting still, maybe it's a character who has this job for whatever is driving him to have this job also drives him to not accept that to not stand at the greeter station at the front where he's supposed to be, where he's assigned. Like he always wanders off and goes and does actual labor.
Yeah.
And he keeps getting in trouble because he's supposed to just stand there and greet people. And he keeps seeing issues or problems that need to be cleaned up or fixed. And he goes and maybe does those things instead of greeting. Maybe he wants to be, I've got to make, it's so funny. I'm like fighting it being broad. Like I'm like trying to make it.
And it's got to be quiet too. That's the tough part too.
Oh God.
It's a quiet martial arts movie.
60 plus.
But the thing about quiet too is, do we get away with it being quiet in the parts that there's not fights going? Because the fights kind of need to be, to an extent, like they're loud and in general. It's a martial arts movie. I don't know how to. There's stuff like the Wong Kar-wai film. What was it? Grandmaster. Did you ever see Grandmaster?
No. Remember, I haven't seen movies according to this episode.
Okay. There are quiet martial arts films, but that's like very poetic, and I just don't know if we make those kind of movies.
How much time do we have, by the way?
We have 7 minutes before we have another wild card.
Okay. Maybe the wild card will be the plot to the
movie. Maybe so. But I mean, broad's not bad per se. I think it's just how do we elevate it and make it something that's
broad is good. We need broad. I'm saying I'm having trouble. I'm fighting it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
We need it to be broad for 60 plus, I think. Well, I say that. I'm just thinking like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking the 60 plus people I know, and they only go see the biggest mainstream movies. So
they do, however, really like I got my dad into Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He loves that stuff. If it's something compelling, starring an actor like Anthony Hopkins, and it's a compelling enough story and there's action in it. The good news is the very few things that it takes to get my dad, like to get someone like my dad or that demographic to watch a movie or to be into a movie. The good news is that means that we only need to have those things in it, and then we can do what we want with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what do we want to do with it? I think I'm dancing around these areas of this particular assignment that I don't know very well, and I'm afraid to dive into.
But I think, so martial arts movies, for the broadness of it, I mean, we can. Well,
it doesn't have to be a kung fu film. Like I think that's what's in my head.
Yeah. Oh, martial arts can. Yeah, I think just an action film where it's primarily hand to hand with a little bit of other kind of like there's chase scenes, there's all sorts of things. Like it doesn't need to just be kung fu.
Okay, how about this? Let's contain it. Let's make this a little easy on ourselves. Let's trap some people in a building where they don't have any guns to operate off of. Let's figure out what a situation like this would be.
If it's in the Walmart.
100% it's in the Walmart. Like 500% is in the Walmart.
You have props, you have all sorts of fun things because, department store like that, you've got food, you've got furniture, you've got toys, you've got all this stuff.
So our film is called The Greeter, right? That's what it's going to be called?
Greeter, like the accountant.
Yeah. And it's Anthony Hopkins, the greeter, who has this martial arts background, hasn't used it in forever, and so he's not like
he's got to unlock that part of his memory that he that's so long ago. I mean, is he the thing? Okay, we should figure this out too.
Is it a hostage? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, hostage situation. I kind of like that.
Yeah, is it a hostage situation in the Walmart? Like, and what would that hostage situation be that would prolong it to be a 2-hour film?
Because they don't expect him to be the hero. He's the oldest guy there. He's a kind old greeter.
And he's not at the front, by the way, because he keeps wandering off. Like, that's the thing that keeps getting, talked about, is he keeps wandering off to go fix things no one asks him to fix because he doesn't want to stand around and just talk to people. He wants to be useful. Being useful is the theme of the story. Like, that is the theme of this movie.
You just hit it, bro. You just hit it. Okay. So him being a greeter and him having this martial arts background, him knowing, how to fight. To me, the most natural one seems like a war veteran, but I don't know if I want to. What war would Anthony Hopkins be fighting in?
Yeah, and would know martial arts.
Yeah, the martial arts, because
the great martial arts war of. Yeah,
but he doesn't need to be like this trained. He's a fighter in that he has training in boot camp and he's fought in these wars and stuff.
Well, I don't know. That's like, do they train you in any kind of martial arts?
I guess you're right.
So it's like, what could he? And I'm fine if he just trained in, like, when he came back. Like, I'm fine if he came back from the war and took karate classes. Like, whatever they are, and we should figure out what that story is. Yeah. And
he just goes to like the nearest Cobra Kai academy and
well, yeah, I mean, if that's what it is, great.
Totally. So we are about 25 seconds away from our wild card. I say we just get our studio mandate right now.
You're emailing me right now. Here it comes.
You've got mail.
Oh God. The studio needs the film to contain a big blue beam in the sky at the climax.
Oh no. Okay, so big blue beam in the sky. But you got to have the big trailer moment. So Walmart happens to have a lot of big TVs. I don't think the studio would be very happy about that.
Picture this. You're a director. You've got a shoot coming up, and one night you're rereading the script, and suddenly they hit you. Shot ideas. Close-ups, medium close-ups, dare I say extreme close-ups. But what are you going to do? The shoot isn't for several days. How will you remember them for that long? Then, you remember something you bought after hearing an ad for it on a podcast that you absolutely love and share with every one of your friends. And you think, that thing that I bought from listening to that podcast just might be what I need. So you throw open a drawer and there it is, the storyboard workbook from Plot Devices. You turn to the first blank board in the board section and you sketch those shot ideas real fast so you remember them. And you're terrible at drawing, but you know that doesn't matter because you're not Ridley Scott, and everyone in your life knows it. But one thing you are good at is being practical. That's why you flip to the setup section and start sketching a possible lighting floor plan for the day of the shoot. Using the provided gear list section, you jot down a list of lights you know you'll want to request to be put on the truck. And now, not only are you ready to communicate your vision, you're also ready to execute it. So when the day of the shoot finally arrives, you can arrive to find the location is on fire, but you have to shoot anyway, so you just wing it with the confidence of knowing you did the best you could. And if it sucks, it definitely won't be for lack of trying. Learn more about the storyboard workbook at plotdevices.co and get 20% off your first order with code GAMESHOW at checkout.
We've got some juices flowing. We got the greeter, which is our old man protagonist, is a greeter at Walmart.
We come to learn he has this job. He doesn't need this job. He has this job because he wants to remain useful, and he's afraid of he's afraid of obsolescence of all these things. And one of the ways we see this externalized is in his inability to perform the roles of being the greeter at this Walmart. Like, when we're saying Walmart, it can be whatever kind of superstore we decide it needs to be.
Just a reminder, we need to somehow make this quiet as well. I keep on forgetting that.
That's okay. I mean, it's actually very quiet, at the Walmart, and wanders off.
Yes, like all Walmarts, very quiet. That's what I think of when I go to Walmart.
What we do have? We do have a hearing aid that he could have, and that we can frequently use.
Yes.
To have turned off or have come out or something. Maybe it's like fidgety, and maybe he's not able to. Like, is there a way that we could have that be part of the story?
Quiet Place universe.
Yeah, kind of Quiet Place.
I do love that. I kind of like that a lot. And the thing is, we can also establish some home life before. It doesn't need to like start and end at this Walmart. I don't think. I mean, that could be a cool concept to Die Hard it and like have him, where we
get up in the morning. Oh, we just started off. I love when the movies do that. You start out with him waking up in the morning at his house. We probably never see this house again until maybe the third act.
Because if we have Kate Blanchett as a daughter, or maybe a
or she's the cop one of the cops outside.
Yes.
She's I always say Carl, but it's Al.
Is it? Oh no, Carl Winslow is the actor.
I get him confused with his other classic role.
So villains take people hostage. What do they want? They want money. Why would you rob Walmart over like anywhere else you could rob? Take people hostage in.
There need to be something specific about this Walmart, I guess. What I do like that you pointed out is like the idea, that period of time in the first act or the first half of Act 2 where you're in the hostage situation, or in mid robbery, but the outside world doesn't know, and like the cops don't know yet, and so like they close the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what this situation would be where there would be this elaborate robbery, like Die Hard, Hans Gruber-esque robbery of a super center, and there has to be something else going on at the super center. And so can that play to the big blue beam in the sky? Can there be?
I totally forgot about the big blue beam.
Can there be?
Gosh.
Can there be a?
Okay, we like talking about Home Alone 3 and how the first two movies they're just burglars, and then suddenly in this third movie there's terrorists that are trying to get this super ship that are. Are
you pitching that we do that?
No, I just think it's funny that it's like we have a big blue beam in the sky now, so now our hostage takers are like have to be taking something that's going to contribute to a laser beam shooting into the sky.
Live Free or Die Hard is similar as well. It's like it can't just be a hostage situation. It's got to be some kind of political nuclear world, like societal thing. Is there something underneath the Walmart? Some abandoned...
The big blue beam. They just had to throw it with the quiet martial arts film for 60 plus. I mean, it could be a device, that these robbers are trying to...
Is there a non-sci-fi way to do a big blue beam in the sky?
I don't know if there is.
But it was like a red... Like, Red would do like that kind of a movie would easily do... There's a satellite-centric weapon that can focus in on...
The beam... doesn't have to necessarily be. Maybe it could be like a reflection of some sort. Maybe
it can be like a harnessed like death ray, like whatchamacallit death ray. The Mythbusters
death ray. That sounds pretty.
It's the millions of mirrors that all reflect the sun into one.
Because there could be a mirror section at the superstore.
No. The beam doesn't have to emanate from Walmart. It can emanate.
That's true. That's true. Yes. Yes. You're right.
Beaminate's a real word.
Okay, well, our hostages. So we have 13 minutes to come up with our idea. I
don't know. I think we've got enough to where whoever would go see this movie. I feel like this is enough to get greenlit. I mean, it's not at all. But if we actually had Anthony Hopkins attached to be in a martial arts film set in a Walmart that was like Die Hard without guns in a Walmart.
I don't know what studio would pass on that.
Me either. Dumb ones.
So, okay, Kate Blanchett, she's in this as well.
I kind of like her as the cop, don't you?
Yes, totally. Okay, so she's the cop outside. We start at his house.
Is she his daughter?
Ooh, familial relationship there. I like that. It gives her a little bit more. She knows her dad's there because he's the greeter.
It's more of a personal thing. Yeah.
I like that because then she knows someone on the inside and she has a little bit more of a, who knows, maybe she grew up. he was the dojo. He was like the leader of the dojo, and she like grew up doing karate as well. So she's gonna go there and martial arts her way out.
I like that he was an old karate teacher. That's really funny to me, though. That like he.
And this all started with.
It's just so small and fun. Like the idea that he's not like trained in martial arts. He's just. I mean, he is, but he's not trained in the way that you expect the hero of a martial arts film to be.
Yeah, and I like that. It feels a little bit smaller. It's not like he's a past war hero or he's John Wick, where he used to be he's just a guy, really. It's a very normal guy. So,
but he knows how to. He's probably a good teacher too, and he's probably because you want to see you want him to like. How does go ahead?
How fun would it be if it's like sort of an ensemble thing where it's not just him on the inside? Like starts to gather this group of random.
It has to be an ensemble
sort of
because if it's in a Walmart with a staff, 100%.
Yeah,
it has to be these characters that he kind of.
There's a few employees that we see in the first act that he interacts with that maybe can be part of the martial arts thing, and then maybe a few people that are shopping at Walmart. And I like the idea of it just sort of being in the middle of the day as well. Because I mean, I guess it could be
third act at night for sure.
Yeah, we're past closing time by the end of the film.
Actually, no, we'd be past closing time. We'd be middle.
I guess would this happen where it naturally closes, but people are inside? Because I guess our original idea is they come past closing because there's not as many people there.
Yeah, and if they do that, he's working the night shift. That also, I'm seeing in the image in the trailer is like a guy getting up as it's like everyone's leaving, coming home from work or whatever. It's the end of the day. He's waking up. He's having a cup of coffee or whatever,
But him being a greeter, do they
in the middle of the night? You don't have greeters. You're right.
Because I was going to say, is this like a 24-hour superstore?
Is it Christmas Day? People, is it Thanksgiving Day? Thanksgiving Day is when it is. It's got to be Thanksgiving. That's more interesting.
Yes, and we can add to the list of great Thanksgiving movies because there's not enough of them.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
And it's quiet because nobody's.
Is that the only one? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Is that the only good Thanksgiving movie?
Phantasm Mr. Fox feels like Thanksgiving.
Definitely.
I made a list last year. There's Addams Family Values, which is
yeah, it is, isn't it?
Which is the Thanksgiving counterpart to the Halloween original.
But there aren't enough. I think it's the underrated. It's the underrated holiday and the underrated holiday film.
I agree, and it's quiet in there in the Walmart because not as many people are there.
Exactly, and that's why they would target it for that day.
Totally.
And it's a big deal that he's at work and not with his family. Like, where is his family? Why is he not? Why is he working instead of? I like that he insists he has to work. He has to work. These are the hours. No one was going to do it. And it's like, it's just a Walmart, Dad. You don't have to. Like,
and Kate Blanchett is taking that day off as well, and she's works for the local PD. And when she hears what's going down,
I like that we've made her mayor of Easttown.
she totally is. Her name's Miriam. She hears, maybe through chatter or something while she's with the family, what's going down at Walmart, and suits up and goes down there or something. And I like the idea of it. The quiet film aspect is like we're maybe cross-cutting a little bit too between Walmart and a family Thanksgiving dinner or something. Grandpa is not there for the big day and everyone's sort of sad about it. I don't know. That's kind of fun. Thanksgiving.
I think we cut there when we introduce Kate. She'd enter and at the beginning of Act 2. She's our B story.
Yeah. Totally.
And I think we'd find her at we have people ask him at work, like, there's no one you wanted to be with on Thanksgiving, so and so. Says no. Then when the hostage situation happens, yada yada yada. When the hostage situation happens, he's in the back or something. They haven't found him at first. I think we let him sort of discover the hostage situation and have to go through and figure out a plan for how he's gonna save everybody. So maybe he calls his daughter.
Love that. And
that's when we meet her, and it's at home Thanksgiving dinner, et cetera, et cetera.
That's awesome.
We can see, yeah. She gets the call, and maybe is there something to where she doesn't believe it? No, she believes. Like, I guess.
What if they don't have the greatest relationship right now, though?
And she doesn't pick up.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh.
Because then there's something by the end we can have a little bit of character change, a little character growth there, and they.
I mean, he's not there. Of course, she doesn't pick up. Like he.
Yeah.
Like
he chose work over family. Just like he always does.
Just like he always does, and he always did. And because he can't not be useful, he can't so and so. That's essentially what it's like. See, I love that theme, and I feel like off that theme we can write a lot. We can figure out a lot of character stuff. And that's why I got to figure out like what's the inverse of that, or the complement of that with our bad guys.
Totally, and I think he needs to learn by the end of his story that it's not all just about being useful, and that
your value is not in how useful you are.
Yes,
and I think that's
totally. Yeah. So what's the foil of that for the bad guys?
And it can also be a foil. It can be like a complementary parallel thing. Like how can our bad guys be thematically in parallel to that? Not that they have to be, but it's a nice place to draw from.
Totally. And we still need to figure out how or what they want and why this big blue beam happened.
Well, that's the question is for this pitch, like, our focus group is going to decide whether it's enough.
It's true. It's very true. It's just the studio, they're breathing down our backs about this big blue beam, Seth.
Big blue beam.
That's definitely going to be the biggest challenge here. You know what? We have about 5 minutes until a focus group. We probably should at least talk about a little set piece to make it martial arts. To kind of
they fight each other in an aisle. He fights a guy in an aisle.
The thing is,
we get one of those. We get one like.
This is going to be quiet. The quiet part. I know we've got the hearing aid, which is a lot of fun. We can play from his point of view, kind of jump into the almost like Baby Driver, the
tinnitus.
Tinnitus kind of thing. What if we also played up the big ball pits that they have at these Walmarts? The kids always grab the balls out of and play.
Oh yeah, those huge things, and tons of stuffed animals as well.
Yeah, stuffed animals. Like it'd be really funny to have a
Hello's betting
a martial arts fight scene.
Oh, like, and they probably don't have much of these anymore, but they used to have like the aisles of like TVs and cameras that were set up, and the cameras were hooked up to the TVs so you could see what they were filming. They probably don't have that stuff anymore, but we could still.
I mean, you can still put that in a movie. Why not?
It's like, so how could you use those? That's not playing with the quiet idea of it, but like how you could use those cameras to like, I don't know, to like.
There can be like a audio and video section of the Superstore where all the cameras are plugged into the TVs as well, so you can set up like he sets up a system where he's like monitoring the hostage takers to I don't know, that's just kind of a fun side bit. But so we have our opening, we have sort of the gist of the character and what the theme is, the story, the ending.
Does he live at the end?
Well, at least I think he should have this moment with his daughter where he learns his lesson and you have a sweet Thanksgiving moment.
They've got to have Thanksgiving dinner. It's got to be some like shitty food from they've got to be like hiding in an aisle or something like that and eat some shitty Thanksgiving dinner together.
Yes, totally. Maybe right before the big
blue beam.
The countdown timer is going and they're just sitting in the aisle eating their frozen dinner. That's literally frozen from the freezer.
Okay, you know how we work that big blue beam in? He's an old guy. Like we've written him as an old guy. He's gonna be crotchety about stuff. I remember I loved Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. Carl Reiner has this thing where he talks about he and Mel Brooks would watch movies together, and they had God rest in peace, Carl Reiner. Jerry Seinfeld asked him what kind of movies he and Mel like to watch, and he said, "We like any movie where a character says, 'Secure the perimeter,' or 'Try to get some rest.' Any movie where a character says any of those two things, we're very into." And so I like the idea of like, if there's movies playing in this section, back in the super center, like Superstore, he can complain about why is there, and people have said this before, this is like a comedy act somewhere, like why is there a big blue beam in the sky? I forget what this is in that somebody complained about this, but why is there, why is there a big
exactly what you're talking about? Yeah.
Why is there a portal that opens, or why is there a big blue beam?
I think it might be Seinfeld that talks about it.
Maybe Seinfeld, that might be Seinfeld.
Pitch your
but like,
movie.
why is there, he can talk about that. And so then we can actually we can get away with the big blue beam in the third act if he's specifically complained about it, and we create an artificial one as some kind of distraction or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Love that. The thing is that, the quiet thing throws us for a loop, but I think as long as we have that moment and we sort of are playing it meta a little bit, it can make sense in the story world of the film, especially if it's, it's, I mean, typically it's at the big third act, That's our timer. We are initiating focus group. Seth, are you ready to pitch this thing?
Let's do it.
She's the co-founder of Bet Red Stories and a producer of films like Swallow, Bowl, the 2021 Sundance hits Wild Indian and Cusp, as well as the documentary Pray Away, which actually just played Tribeca Film Festival. So let's welcome Katie Drake Bettner to the show. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, guys.
Hooray!
Okay, so Katie, we'll just dive right into it. We came up with a pretty awesome film that we like to think, and it's called The Greeter. And I'm just going to hand it off to Seth to kind of give it an introduction, then I'll jump back in.
Thanks, Ryan. I'm fully prepared for you to hand it off to me. So this film is about without giving the assignment, it's actually really hard to give you the context of how to jump into this pitch. So our film, we have, as you know, probably, we have Anthony Hopkins attached to this project. Very excited about it, to play the lead. This is a film about a greeter at a Walmart-esque supercenter who essentially, it's like Die Hard in a Walmart on Thanksgiving Day if John McClane were at retirement age, like post-retirement age.
I'm retired.
Literally. The whole idea here is that Anthony Hopkins plays this character who we see him get up in the morning. He lives alone. He goes to work. We get context clues tell us that it's Thanksgiving Day and that he's going into work, and where he works as a greeter at this Walmart type store. And we quickly see he does a lot of things he doesn't need to do, like this job, for instance, because he needs to feel useful. If he doesn't feel useful, he doesn't feel, well, let's not even talk about what he feels instead. The idea is that he constantly is driven by this need to be useful. And so even as a greeter at this job, he's constantly wandering off and not doing this job because he can't stand to stand around and just say hi to people. He sees things that need to be fixed, things that need to be cleaned up throughout the store. So he's constantly wandering off throughout the store and having to be brought back to that front. So when a team of bad guys who, I'm going to be totally honest, we haven't fully figured out and fleshed out who the villains in this story are.
But just know they're very bad.
They are a team of burglars, robbers, something where they come in and they've got this massive elaborate plan where it's Thanksgiving Day. They know not many people are going to be coming to the store, so they can get away with closing the store, making it appear closed for the day. And when they arrive, our main character is not at his post at the front of the store. He is off somewhere where, like John McClane in Die Hard, is able to, get away, undetected by our bad guys. He has I believe we established, Ryan, jump in if I'm getting this stuff wrong. He has a military history.
Yes, he has a military history way back. And he actually, when he got out of the military, he owned a karate dojo. And he actually, and this is a local small town. He kind of knows everybody in the town, and he was the karate teacher. And when his daughter was very young, she got into karate as well. And it was kind of this, fun thing. They did it as a family, and she grew up doing karate before she graduated high school, went to college, and joined the police force in their local town. And we'll cut back to the our story here.
Well, so she's the first person that he calls when he detects something's going on. And she is at Thanksgiving. She's off work, and she doesn't pick up.
Let's just say their relationship has gotten dicey over the years because he typically chooses work over family. He likes to do his job. Even as he's retired, he wants to just get back in there, and he doesn't want to feel like he's getting too old to do things he used to do.
So our goal with these with the story is to bring these two characters together for a Thanksgiving meal, even if it is in the back of a Walmart eating kind bars. Like, the idea is to take these two estranged, this father and daughter. She's the head of police, so she has a force that's already going to naturally intersect her with this the conflict at hand, the situation. And to be completely honest, I think that is everything we have. The rest of it's still much to be figured out and decided.
We've got some ideas about how her being part of the police force, she eventually hears chatter of what's going on at this local superstore, suits up and heads down there to basically, she knows the greeter inside there. She knows that she's got to try to come up with a plan to get him out and save her father. And so we've got this, on the A story, which is this hostage situation that he's trying to get out of, and the B story, which is our father-daughter relationship, and that kind of coming together. And we would love to try to figure out a way for those two sort of merge in our second and third act. And
I think that's the meat of the story, though, is the tension between the two of them and how the two of them end up working together.
So do you consider this a family?
We consider it a martial arts film for ages 60 plus, starring Anthony Hopkins.
That is very quiet.
Yeah,
it's very quiet. It's more quieter than the average martial arts film.
So we're talking a art house.
Sort of. Honestly, I think it could very easily. I believe it would be marketed to an audience that would see the Red and Red 2, like those kind of movies.
Mm-hmm. Tony is great, but Helen Mirren is still hot.
Helen Mirren is 100% still hot. Unfortunately, she may not match the criteria that was given to us by the studio,
which is Oscar winners in the past 10 years.
Right. Okay.
Having a male and
very specific, but
however, did we look at supporting actors and actresses, Ryan?
We actually didn't. We should have, because
did Helen Mirren win a lot more Oscar in the last 10 years?
No.
I don't think so, but we would have had a much more diverse set of actors.
Yeah, we would have
if we looked at supporting.
I do like Anthony Hopkins.
And Kate Blanchett plays his daughter.
Yes, forgot to mention that.
Yes.
Oh, both of them have to have won.
Yes.
Okay.
The studios get this weirdly particular.
Really bizarre. Very bizarre. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Very. Sometimes borderline inappropriate mandate.
So the questions we have for you, first question would be, would you see this film?
Okay, I love Anthony Hopkins. I really like Die Hard, so that was a good sales point. Like Die Hard, I hate Walmart, so if the villains could actually be the Walton family, I would probably be more into it.
Okay.
Because
I hadn't thought about that. That's good.
Yeah, like this, if they could be super villains, maybe like Bezos level super villains. Walton's, Bezos, Musk, any of those guys, I could be into it as long as
have it more be about like our corporate overlords,
right? As long as there was blood involved.
It could almost be. Not to interrupt you, but it could also be, what's the Soderbergh, the Ocean 7-Eleven? What was that called? It was the
Logan Lucky. Love it.
Yeah, Logan Lucky. It can almost be those are our hostage takers trying to rob from the Jeff Bezos.
Totally, but then they get stuck with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, and we're caught in the middle. Yeah.
I like the family piece. I think that is really interesting. Would I see it? If my dad wanted me to go see it with him, I would.
Would your dad want to go see it? That's probably a more important question here, actually.
Would my dad want to go see
Considering our demo. Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he would.
So we won you and your dad. Perfect.
I would go see it with my dad.
And be delightfully surprised.
Is it comedic?
I guess I didn't finish the thought earlier. Is that I think it would fall in a Venn diagram to where it would be probably better marketed toward our dads, and then we would be delightfully surprised by it, or the other way around. We would love it and be like, "Dad, you've got to watch this. You'd actually would love this."
Yeah. What was the one that just came out? Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to remember it, but it's Better Call Saul guy.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah, we mentioned that
right?
While we were coming
totally came home from that movie and was like, "Dad, you have to go see the movie. You will love that movie."
So it's a good comp.
That one definitely was what I was thinking of when I was listening to the pitch. Was Nobody. I was like, okay, family, interesting, indie, but still, kind of exciting action.
Christopher Lloyd, and that was one of our references for Anthony Hopkins in this. So that's great.
Yeah. So I thought it was good. I would. I think
you went to see Nobody. You watched Nobody then.
I did. Yeah. I think you have to be really, and that's where your partnerships come in. You have to know what else is coming out that weekend, for this, but
Yeah.
but I do think that the 60 plus demographic is really good for in-person theater post-vaccination, because people of a certain age still really love being in a theater. I am 42 and I love being in a theater like a 60-year-old would love being in a theater. Like I have a problem. And so I would, I also think that there's probably a lot of people who would watch it on a streaming service for sure. So
Love it.
That's
Love
an
it.
excellent answer.
So our final question, which I think we might know the answer. Would you recommend this movie? Which you said you would recommend to your dad. Would you recommend?
Yeah, I would recommend it to my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a hard one.
You have no idea. We were
So
terrified.
You didn't hear. Technically, the studio is not going to be super happy with it because our wild card mandate that we got 30 minutes in was that it needed to require a big blue beam from the sky
At the end. But the way we figured out how to do that, and tell us what you think of this, is if
Sorry, but this is very realistic. By the way.
right?
Yeah, we
Right. And
like,
so
you have the whole thing packaged, everything's ready, and they're like, but
big blue beam.
we need an alien.
but I actually love our blue beam. So the idea is that we have him comment on how, because in the Walmart, they play movies on the screens in the back, and he can comment on how every movie just has a big blue beam in the sky at the end. Like whatever happened to movies where characters said, secure the perimeter and try to get some rest. Like that's all I need in a movie.
Yeah.
And then we somehow create an artificial blue beam at the end to distract the bad guys or something like that. It inspires some tactic in the third act, which we can make work.
Yeah, it kind of creates some meta commentary, the little comedy there. I don't know how it's quiet in tone, but we'll
his hearing aid is off. That's what we decided.
Hearing aid. Yes. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to offline talk to you about how you got Anthony Hopkins attached. Because I tried to get in touch with him for a movie, and it even fits within his wheelhouse, and it was not easy. So I would love information.
He was very excited about the opportunity to stretch his martial arts muscles for this one.
He doesn't get to use them very often.
Shirtless, I'm sure that's going to happen.
He keeps wanting to, and we're actually trying to talk him down.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He requested the white tank top from Die Hard to be worn the whole.
He's like, I'm gonna rock that.
Yeah.
But like a loose one, like Florida tank top, not like a wife beater.
Florida.
The Writers' Room Game Show with Seth Worley and me, Ryan Polly. Executive produced by Grant Wakefield at Weekend Video and Ann Fogerty at Plot Devices. Our art is by the incomparable Meg Lewis, and our incredible music is by Ben Worley. The Writers' Room Game Show is a Weekend Video production in association with Plot Devices. Learn more about Weekend Video at weekend.video, and don't forget to check out writersroomgame.show to listen to all of our episodes and keep in touch. And while you're at it, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps the show out a lot. See you on the next one. Whoa, this song is cool, said everyone. Well, that's because this music and all the other music under ads in this episode was provided by MusicBed. They've got an insane selection of music that filmmakers and creators can license, and Seth and I personally use them on a ton of our personal and commercial projects. Anyways, check out the link in the show notes to start your subscription and get unlimited music for your next masterpiece.
It's the end of the podcast, and you know that these things just end in ads, and yet you're still listening. So I can only assume one thing, which is that you've fallen asleep. And now I'm in your dreams. Once again. Here's what's going to happen. Whenever you hear the word podcast, you're going to feel the unavoidable urge to go to plotdevices.co and order any of our cool storytelling products, like the Story Clock Workbook for turning your ideas into stories, or the Storyboard Workbook for drawing your shot ideas and planning your shoot. And you're going to be sure to use the code GAMESHOW to get 20% off your first order. Now, when I snap my fingers, you will wake up.